Think about the house you live in. You probably don't spend like a ton of time thinking about the load-bearing wall.
No, you just trust them.
Right, you just expect them to hold up the roof. But what if you suddenly realized you had absolutely no idea which walls were supporting the structure and which ones were just, decorative?
That is a terrifying thought.
It is. And that is exactly how we treat our deepest beliefs. We lean our entire worldview against them without ever checking if they can actually hold the weight. Welcome to today's deep dive into a source text called An Invitation to Inquiry, a Socratic exercise.
And our mission for you today is to escape this modern age of instant answers and absolute certainties. We're going to actively try to knock down our own mental walls.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because holding on to unexamined opinions is basically like building a house on a swamp. If you don't check the foundation, it eventually just sinks.
Yeah, and the tool the text gives us to check that foundation is this modern adaptation of the Socratic method. What's fascinating here is how it all points back to that famous quote, "I know that I know nothing."
Which sounds incredibly humble.
It does, but getting a human brain to the point of genuinely admitting it knows nothing, that takes some serious psychological heavy lifting.
Well, let's test a real wall then. A core belief a lot of people hold. How about hard work always leads to success? Most of us feel that in our bones. But how do we even begin to test a belief we feel is undeniably true?
You start by attacking the load-bearing words themselves. So if the claim is, hard work always leads to success, how exactly are you defining success?
Oh, I see. Or what about the word always?
Exactly. The challenge here is to define those vague terms without just swapping in synonyms. You have to pin down the exact real-world mechanism you are claiming exists.
Well, wait, isn't lived experience, incredibly valuable here? I mean, if I've personally seen hard work pay off in my own life, why should I discard that?
Well, it's not about discarding your experience at all. It's about recognizing its limits. Like the human brain is a pattern recognition machine. When something works out for us, our ego immediately jumps to the conclusion that we've discovered this universal law. But if you interrogate the foundation of that belief, you often find it's built on a sample size of one.
Wow, a sample size of one.
Yeah. It's just your specific upbringing, your industry, or even just your specific luck.
So once I realize my view of the world is actually just incredibly narrow, how do I break out of that trap?
You have to force yourself into a completely different perspective.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The text compares this phase to playing chess against yourself.
Yes. You have to construct the absolute strongest possible argument for a reasonable opponent. Someone who is just as smart as you, but believes the exact opposite.
So I'd have to argue that hard work rarely leads to success, because that feels completely unnatural.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's tempting to just build a weak argument for the other side.
Straw man.
Yeah, straw man, just so my original belief can knock it down and I can feel secure again.
Which is exactly what human nature wants you to do. We protect our beliefs because they form our identity. But you have to find the undeniable logic in their perspective. Maybe focus on systemic barriers or random chance.
Why put ourselves through this mental gymnastics, though? I mean, what's the real danger if I just happily keep believing hard work always equals success?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, ideas don't just exist in a vacuum. They dictate your actions.
Right.
What is the danger of error? If you hold that absolute certainty as a law of the universe, and you encounter someone who is really struggling, how do you treat them?
Yeah, I see it. If I believe hard work always equals success, then anyone who isn't successful simply didn't work hard enough. I just end up judging them.
Precisely. The danger isn't just being wrong on paper. It's the real-world harm your unexamined certainty causes.
That hits hard. When you truly see the opposite side, that original certainty shatters. It leaves you feeling completely unmoored. It's an awful feeling.
This raises an important question. What happens when that belief shatters? The source calls this state aporia. It's a state of puzzled confusion.
And our ego hates that.
It hates it because cognitive dissonance feels like losing. But here's the critical shift. Hitting aporia isn't a failure. It is the entire goal.
Wait, really? The goal is to feel confused.
The goal is to realize your own ignorance. When the illusion of absolute certainty breaks, you are forced to pick up the pieces and rebuild with humility. You start using words like sometimes or often.
So what does this all mean? It means you move from hard work always leads to success to hard work often contributes to success.
Yeah, exactly.
It's less catchy, but it's much closer to reality. True wisdom only starts when that illusion of certainty ends, and the final task is to take your newly nuanced belief and invite someone else to question it.
It's about getting off those shaky foundations and building something solid together.
Which leaves you with a final thought to ponder today. If reaching this state of aporia, this honest admission of not knowing, is the actual pinnacle of personal wisdom, how might our society transform if we actively rewarded our leaders for publicly admitting their own confusion instead of demanding they always project absolute certainty?